Welcome to the Shakaama Live Show with your host, Shakaama. So in my last video, I said men have won. And what did I really mean by that? I meant that men who have opened up their eyes, I'm talking about white men. I'm not talking about black men. I do not believe that there is a gender problem in the black culture, black American culture. And I want to emphasize that. Stop trying to pull black people into your white culture. We have our own culture. Stop trying to include us. Stop trying to destroy us. We have our own culture. Leave us alone. I believe that white culture, in the white gender war, that men have come to their senses, white men have come to their senses and realized that for them, marriage is nothing but a heartache, nothing but headache, nothing but depression. And having children is the pinnacle of the worst of the worst of the worst. So men are not getting married. And the stats are staggering. When you listen to it, and when you take note of it, the stats are staggering about how unmarried men are now. And men have won because they are not getting married. I made a video saying the same thing, but I said that feminists have won. No, there is no marriage. But the truth is men have won. If you tax a thing, you get less of it. Have you heard of that statement before? If you regulate a thing, you get less of it. If you license a thing, you get less of it. Think about it. If you had to start a lemonade stand, but you had to pay taxes, you had to get a license, you had to comply with regulations. So your lemonade stand had to accommodate the crippled people. I don't know what the PC word for that is today. If you have to accommodate crippled people, you had to build a wheelchair ramp, and right? Sounds ridiculous, but this is what you have to do when you open up certain businesses, certain real businesses, right? Maybe not a lemonade stand, but certain businesses. And there are lawyers who go around just suing people left and right. That is what they do. Now, you might call them shyster lawyers, but that's the law. If you tax marriage, if you reward divorce, so a woman can marry you, bide her time, and there's no consequences for her marrying you and taking half in as short a period of time as possible. There is no consequences for her doing that. None. Should be a crime, because if you're licensing something, that means it should be a complete tool of the state. So that means that when you abuse that tool, that you should have legal criminal consequences, right? Everything else, if you abuse, you have legal and criminal consequences. So women who marry a guy and then divorces and tries to take half should immediately go to criminal court, because that's abuse. But men have woken up. I said that feminism won before, but no, it's actually the men who have won, because marriage is abysmally bad. And here's the thing. There's no stoppage of having babies. Now, I know all the women are going to say, he's not a real man if he doesn't take it. You all made your bed. Now you have to sleep in it. If you say, I can marry a man and take half of his money, and I get all the kids, and I get the house, then the man says, okay, you're only good for, let me show you what you're good for. You're only good for one thing, and that's to have sex with. That's it. You offer men nothing else. Nothing. None of this companionship, none of this love. You know, a man can get love and companionship from another man and not be homosexual. Did you know that? It's called friends. It's called best friends. It's called a rat pack, right? You go and hang out, talk about everything. You over a beer, over wine, over champagne, depending on your class level. And you don't have to be homosexual. All the companionship that you could ever want, and it's better. Man on man. Better. The only reason that men put up with women was because of sex. That's it. Now it has come just completely out in the open. This is all we want you for. That's all you ever offered. That's the only thing that you bring to the table. And they tried and they tried and they tried to say, okay, you have to bring something else to the table now because food prices are higher, gas prices are higher. They've completely unlatched home prices. Homes used to be $5,000, and you could buy a home by working over a summer. Yes, I'm talking about a long time ago, but it doesn't matter. That's how life used to be when the government wasn't 3,000 times the size that it originally was in comparison to the population. That's what this is all about. Men tried and tried and tried to make women more attractive to them by saying, okay, you have to bring something else to the table. Now you have to bring some sort of education. You have to bring some sort of income. You have to provide something in the home. For you to come into my house. And it's always been the possession of the man. It all has always been, because that's how men think. That's how men are socialized to think. It all belongs to men because men work for it. Even in this age of handouts, men still don't get handouts. It's the women that get handouts, and children, and crazy people, and old people. So they tried and tried and tried to get women to be more attractive to men by saying, okay, you have to bring something else to the table other than your childbearing skills. And even that was all trumped up too, right? I'm sure you've seen plenty of quote unquote women with children, and you have wanted to snatch those children away from that woman because she is horrible. Let me tell you about the truth of the matter. If women were so nurturing, you would never see that woman. It would be an impossibility that you would ever see that woman, that you would want to snatch her children away from her. And I've seen women like that. And I've wanted to, and I'm not even a child kind of guy. Children I could take them or leave them. But I'm a gentleman. I'm not going to stand idly by while some woman abuses her children and she thinks it's not abuse, number one, and she thinks that's A-okay, and she thinks that the child is going to come out perfectly fine. I have breeding in class. That's not how you treat children. You have to be passive aggressive with children. That's how you really screw them up. I'm kidding. You understand. I'm kidding. I'm joking, but I'm being serious. Okay. This whole feminism thing is corporatism. You cannot tax a woman who sits at home and raises the children. I'm talking about married or stay-at-home moms. Do you get the drift? You cannot tax a woman who has no quote unquote job. Why did I say quote unquote? Because raising children, keeping a home, keeping a budget is a job, and it is a job that is probably far more than what women do today who don't do those things, who do not keep a home, who do not raise their children, and I mean raise as opposed to abusing their damn children, who do not keep a budget, who have absolutely no compunction about what a budget is. What's a budget? I just go to the store on the 1st when I get my food stamps and just buy whatever I want to within the limitation of food stamps. And feminism even demonizes stay-at-home moms. You're abused and you just don't know it. How am I abused? How? Tell me. I have a loving husband. I have loving children. We live within our means. We get a brand new car every 3 years. And if I'm a really good housewife, we get a brand new to us car every 3 years. Right? It's a used car that's almost brand new, but it's within your budget, right? It's you're buying it a la Kelly Blue Book, right? And this is the woman doing this. She's stretching every dollar that the man makes so that they can live in a good lifestyle, yet not above their net. They're not in huge debt. He paid cash for their house, and she is fine. She is well taken care of. The children are well taken care of. And this is the state wants to destroy this because the state can't tax her. I want you to think back to a time before World War II when 50% of the population didn't even work. I'm talking about women, didn't even work. And the state could not get taxes from those women. Now, because of the way the situation is, now the woman and the man both have to work, and the woman gets taxed too. Think back to the time where the woman didn't work and the state couldn't tax her. This was a brilliant plan. Let's introduce feminism. Let's introduce this notion. Do you know that women didn't want the right to vote? Do you know that, women? Why? Because politics was dirty. Politics is dirty. Do you see these people beating up each other over a politician? No, they're not beating up each other up over a political stance. They're beating each other up because they are worshiping a politician. And the politician doesn't even care. Women didn't want the right to vote because politics is dirty. Imagine, if you would, people beating each other up over politicians was rampant back in those days. We're a little more civilized now, so not every campaign has people beating each other up. Do you know that politicians used to beat each other up and declare war on each other and have feuds and have duels to the death? Politics. And now the libertarians have come along and said, look, the way the system is now, you don't matter anyway. Your vote doesn't matter. What are you getting all worked up about? And there's no difference between Democrat and Republican. And still women is, we need to be more ingrained in politics. You don't know the time, do you? And you have black people cheering, Obama, Obama. He's a puppet. The Republicans are not bowing to Obama. Why aren't the Republicans doing anything about Obama? Because they get paid by the same exact people that Obama is paid from. This is all the state, the state, the state. Feminism, the state. Let's unleash feminism on women, and we will get women out of the house, in a job. Woman, you need to smoke. Woman, you need to have a job. Why do women need to smoke? So that the cigarette companies can have an entire new population of people buying cigarettes. Is this stuff sinking in? Are you waking up to it by me talking to you? We need to get women, put women in the job place. They didn't know what hit them in World War II when they said, women, you need to come out and go into the factory, go work in the factories. And they came out and worked in the factories, and they paid them 10 cents on the dollar, first of all. And then they started taxing the women. The state went crazy. Oh my God. And then after World War II was done, the women went back home. And the state was like, why did they go back home? Because they don't need to work anymore. They're married. There's a man to take care of them. There's a man to provide everything that they want within reason. And back in those days, women were reasonable. You didn't have statements flashing against the head of the Huffington Post saying, if a man can't provide me with my shopping and my Starbucks, I don't want him. Huffington Post front page. And serious as a heart attack. And the people reading it agreeing with her that that's the definition of a real man. Egads. I don't know if you know what that word means. Egads, right? It's all statism. Statism. But men have won. Why? Because they have woken up. No marriage. And if we have a child, oh well. Really, oh well. Basically, oh well. And you're busy blaming the men, but you're not busy blaming feminism, which has said marriage is terrible. Marriage is terrible. Oh my. Okay, I'm not going to get married. But women still want adult relations. So what are you going to do? System of marriage was the best system in humanity. And I'm not talking about the stuff in the other countries where if you don't marry the right person, you could kill the woman. Or kill the girl, or you have the little girls marrying old men. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the institution of marriage itself. Best system in humanity. I will now marry Shaniqua. Shaniqua is hands off. I will now marry Leon. Leon is now hands off. Everybody understands? And I'm going to put some sort of sign on my body that you can readily tell that we're both married. I'm married. I have the marriage symbol on me. We call it a ring now. And that means hands off. And you're supposed to respect that. You're not supposed to have every floozy in the club jump on the man with the wedding ring, because now that man has become evidence of that he provides for somebody. That's now the psychology of the floozy. But the system of marriage was the best. When you destroy the system of marriage, then you get all this other stuff. Yes, women have had children out of wedlock before, but it wasn't rampant. And don't say it's black people, because once again, there are like 30 white people to every black person in the country. So when we're talking about that, it's all everything I'm talking about today is about white people, not about black people, not even touching black people. When you destroy marriage, you have the system where you have rampant out of wedlock children. You have a complete destruction. Do you know that the Roman Empire fell because of divorce, fell because of lack of marriage? Marriage brings about the stability of the entire society. True story. Go read it. I hope you took some sort of history, and they actually said that. I know they talk about barbarians and stuff like that invading. No, the barbarians was evidence of the symptom. The symptom was the disease was already there. You had rampant homosexuality, no marriage, lots of divorce. There was no stability in the society whatsoever, and so Rome fell. And what's ironic is that Europeans don't learn from that lesson. And they've been studying, trying to get the Roman Empire back. They tried to look at the Catholic Church to see if that would help. Nope, that didn't help. Now they have the EU. That didn't help either. Why? Because the EU was immediately taken over. Well, it was thought of by the elites, and it was taken over by the elites. And I'm talking about countries that weren't a part of the whole elite system. And then you had countries trying to be on equal footing, where you had European countries that were literally like third world countries, and you're all supposed to be equal on equal footing. So then you have Germany and France really toting the water for countries that couldn't even pay their tax, like Greece. They can't even pay their state bonds, municipal bonds. They default all the time. And that country is supposed to be equal to Germany? Germany, which America outsourced all of its ingenuity to, Germany, which creates most of the industrialized world's industrial machines, that's Germany. So if you want this multi-million-dollar machine, it's produced in Germany. What does that mean for the economy of Germany? That means that Germany is going to be the big man on campus. And France has all the cultural stuff that you buy. Wine, cheese, art, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you didn't think wine, cheese, art brought in the dollars, but the wine industry itself is how big? How big is the cheese industry? And the art industry? Literally, you have galleries facing each other on the same street. That's just how big it is. That's how saturated it is, right? And if they're facing each other, that means that all of them have patrons going to them. This is all statism, and women have fallen for it because women are not business savvy. Women are not politically savvy. So you have these lesbians who have been put in charge of this movement, and now we come full circle. Now we have the 1% women dictating to the rest of the women that, hey, this is what we need to concentrate on. What is that? We have the Lean In campaign. What's the Lean In campaign? The real Lean In campaign is saying that if you are the 1% and you are a woman, you can have it all. You can be CEO and mother and wife. That's kind of counter to what feminism has been preaching the whole time, right? The whole mother and wife part, right, is supposed to be, you're supposed to be independent of men. I don't think you understand how deep this whole mania is. We have the COO of Facebook starting the Lean In campaign. Now, has she been in the feminism movement for 30 years? No. Nope, she hasn't. But all of a sudden, because she has money and because she has a platform where she is the CEO of COO of Facebook, that when she opens her mouth, all the other feminists shut up and listen to her. That's what this is all about. And what is the Lean In campaign? To placate the elite women that their husband should listen to them too. But here's the deal. Behind every woman corporate officer, there's probably a male corporate officer who makes 10 times as much as she does. And that's not saying they're paid unequally. That's saying that he is involved in projects that are far more lucrative than she is, because that's just the way it goes. When a man decides he's going to do a sort of profession, that's what he does. He goes for it. He doesn't get pregnant so he can keep going. That's all there ever is. That's all this is about. Statism. Men have won, and I'm talking about white men, because they have come to the realization that marriage is not the way, that the laws are stacked against them, that being a husband is demonized, being a man is demonized. Now, in the black culture, being a man is not demonized. Being a man is actually applauded. Sorry, white man, you can't be black. I know there's a lot of white men who try to be black, who try to act black and try and claim that they're black. What's the one guy who claims that he's black and speaks out for black people, and then what is it, Sean King, something like that? And then finally somebody says, dude, you're white. Stop it. Just go back to, go hang out with white people. You're white. Just be white. It's okay. You don't have to speak for black people. We're not your sheep. We're not your kids. Anyway, in the black culture, being male is actually applauded. We're not backwards. And the next video is going to talk about being a real man, what that actually means today in light of feminism. White culture now is saying that being a man is terrible. Why am I saying white culture? Because feminism has now completely taken over white culture. Completely to the point where we have men wearing skinny jeans. And that's evidence of the feminization of men, which will be the next video. I'm sorry. Men have won because, or white men have won because they come to the realization that marriage is nothing for men. And it's completely destroying the white culture. Completely destroying the white population. How about that? Thank you for watching the Shakaama Live Show.